Hey, how's it going today? I've got burpee tips for you. If you haven't made yourself some parallettes to play with and take the stress off your wrist, I suggest you do that. I talk about these in the previous video called a wrist of fate. Today's about breaking down your burpees. If you're doing 5 burpees or 500 burpees, it gets to a point when dealing with the number can be overwhelming. So what I've done for burpees and pretty much any other exercise in the past is, if I get to the point where, say I want to do a set of 50, and I'm getting to about 30 and getting tired, getting a little fatigued, I start breaking my sets down. So if I get to 30 and I got to do another 20 more, I'll start doing my burpees in single sets of 5. 1 rep, 2 rep, 3 rep, 4 rep, 5 rep, 35, 1 rep, 2 rep. It makes it much, much easier to get to that number. Now, the number's not important. The fact that you're doing it is. And I appreciate that. Your body appreciates it even more. The other thing that I'd like to emphasize that may be taken as a tip, but is much more important, is the actual execution of the movement of the burpee. Like all exercise, the form in which you do it maximizes the muscles that you're going to utilize to do it, as well as diminishing the possibility of an injury. Now, my mentor, Calisthenics versus Age, has some great tutorials on basic bodyweight movements such as bodyweight squats, push-ups, pull-ups, chin-ups, joint mobility for your hips and so forth. Very basic, but getting the fundamentals of your foundation down and setting that in concrete so that every time you're doing a rep, you're trying to execute it in the best form possible, that is definitely going to benefit you in the long run. So instead of being like Kippy the fish, where you'd be just sort of flopping through and you're not keeping anything tight, you're just going through the motion, sort of flopping it around and banging your joints and shit. No. What we want to do is we want to keep our core tight. All our muscles are tensed from our toes all the way up to where I'm gripping here. I'm keeping everything nice and tight. Notice my shoulders? Calisthenics versus Age touches that on his push-up video. Very important. Now here's the secret. When you slow your movement down and you execute it with perfect form, or as good as form as you can possibly get off, you're firing muscle fibers on a whole different level. And the individuals that train, the term is called time under tension, TUT. You notice on the bar when I was doing stuff for chin-ups and so forth, and just working on my core exercises, a lot of the time I kept my arms in a static hold at 90. That was time under tension, firing the muscle fibers in my bicep. The growth and the strength that comes from applying time under tension with good form, I can't emphasize that enough. If it takes you 5 minutes to do 10 perfectly executed push-ups where your eccentric and concentric movements are, variable seconds through each phase, and a pause at the bottom and a pause at the top, you're on a whole nother level. You are making that mind-muscle connection whether you realize it or not. So, your tips are: count, break down your counts, makes it a lot easier. Form is king. Get your form for every exercise nailed down and worry about numbers later. If you have 100 burpees to do each day, then you better be doing your 100 burpees each day to the best form that you have available to you until it improves. And again, time under tension. Maximize muscular growth. One last variable that I want to add about breaking down and counting your reps. When you're doing that, you're not off in Never Never Land thinking about, oh, I don't know, washing your car or what the dogs are doing or, you know, is my pot of water for my wieners done boiling? Who knows? You're firing your neurons up here because you're having to keep track of your count, obviously, right? What was I at again? Oh shit, well if that's the case, then you start over. When I used to train on Vancouver Island, everyone that trained under me had to be mindful of what their count was, because at any point in time in the training session with me, if I asked you what your count was and you did not know, you started over. And there's people out there that know what it's all about. I'm called the drill sergeant for a reason, not because I have any military background. And the last thing, I know we all have problems in our life. We all have stresses. And doing burpees is not the answer, but when life gets you down, you do have the option to look it squarely in the eyes, kick it straight in the balls, and do a burpee. So, take care of one another, take care of yourselves. Train hard, train smart. I'll catch you next time.